Hello everyone, welcome to this week's Gran Turismo 7 Daily Race and Strategy Guide, where we are off to Circuit de Spa Francorchamps in Belgium, and we are in the Group 3 machinery. Now unfortunately, PD appear to have not heeded our warning on why settings matter, so I think if you're looking at these you're going to see where this one is going. But we've got 8 laps to get round, we've got tyre wear at times 7, fuel at times 2, we've got the medium and the hard tyres available. Only the hard tyres are mandatory. BOP is on, it's the high speed BOP. Damage is light, it's a rolling start, and slipstream is real. And yeah, as I said, you probably know where this one is going. These settings are regurgitated from many of the races we've had over the last couple of months in Group 3. They give us the medium and the hard tyres, they only make the hard tyres mandatory, but unfortunately, it does not lead to any strategy. Before we get on to that, let's just take a quick look at some of the cars I tested. We took out the usual suspects, I think it would be fair to say. We took out the Nissan GTR 18. So yeah, usual suspects, cars that are tending to be quite strong in Group 3 at the moment. This car, yeah, I had a lot of trouble getting a decent lap out of this. Eventually we did get a 19.7. We did do a very poor first sector, so I didn't do a 19.5. Was easily possible in that, but it does seem to suffer from some unusual understeer. We took out the new Mercedes AMG from 2020. I had real trouble getting a lap time out of this. Look at the lap times there on 2 and 3. 2 minutes 20.8. Eventually did something slightly better at 2 minutes 20.2, but it seems to be very awkwardly geared for the chicane and the hairpin, so you're kind of in between second and first gear. And yeah, I guess the lap time will definitely be available in it, but I just couldn't get any decent speed out of it. Next up, we've got the Porsche 911, just to kind of use an MR car. Super stable, super drivable car around the second and third sectors, but just got no top speed down the straight, which is where it loses out. But yeah, it can definitely do a lap time. And then we've got the old Toyota Supra, an absolute monster down the straights still, by the way. 163 miles an hour compared to about 159 and 160 for the other 3 cars tested, but it's still a tricky animal, this one. Just seems to step out on the rear on third gear without any kind of warning. So the Supra is very fast, but it definitely has some dangers. And I think BOP overall, there should be a decent number of cars available to use in this one, but of course, as always with every week, a couple of cars will come to the fore. We decided to just carry on when we did the driving in the Porsche to just do a simulated no-stop run, so doing 8 laps on the hard tyres, coming to the end of that 8th lap now, not 8th lap now, and yeah, as I said, the Porsche was just really nice to drive. Just lacks, if it was 2 or 3 miles an hour quicker down the straight, it would probably be the best car around here. The rear tyre wear was surprisingly heavy on this car. That could be something that's MR related, because I don't think you'll suffer any kind of real tyre woes in an FR car. You have to kind of burn the tyres out by about 50% to really kind of start losing tyre performance. But yeah, the Porsche was kind of struggling come lap 7 and 8, but every car is going to have no trouble doing the no-stopper. And whilst we're at it, let's take a look at why the one-stop won't work. Of course, those medium tyres are available, but if we come into the pits at the end of lap 1 on our hard tyres, the change to those medium tyres were 2.3 seconds ahead of the AI car that was behind us, and we'll see what that gap is once we come out the pits. And yeah, talk amongst yourselves while we wait on our Porsche getting down the pit lane to the pit crew, boys and girls. Should be just about there now. Now, to be fair, the pit stop length is probably fairly realistic for a GT3 car at Spa if it was just changing the tyres and taking on no fuel, but given the makeup of the race, it becomes too long and unusable for a 18.5-minute races, which what this kind of combination is working out. Your pit loss is approximately 25 seconds. Fuel is no issue whatsoever, so you've got 7 laps on the medium tyres over the hard tyres to make up 25 seconds by my estimation. I think that's what, 3.6 seconds or so. They might be at best 2 seconds a lap faster, probably more like 1.5, but you get the message why the one stopper is just not going to be viable here. So that is pretty much this one in a nutshell. Kind of disappointed the lack of the strategy, but it is Group 3 at Spa, so people will be happy at least with the car and track combination. But I'm always looking for a little bit of strategy in daily racing, particularly when we have went a good number of weeks without a race with any real strategy, certainly as far as I can remember. And yeah, the settings for this one just seem to have been very much regurgitated from the Group 3 race that we did at Road Atlanta and Watkins Glen in the last, 5 to 6 weeks. And you know, the strategy didn't work then. If the intention is to make it a one stop versus a no stop, well, it's certainly not working, PD. And you know, as we kind of demonstrated in the video that we did not so long ago, it's not particularly hard to come up with settings to induct or induce some strategy out of the race. So it kind of makes me think that the idea of this is just to have the medium tyres for qualifying and for the race to be a no stop sprint. Beyond that, I expect most people, or for the Supra to be the most prevalent car here. You get that free speed down the straight. It's around about 4 to 5 times quicker than anything else. 163 miles an hour down the Kemmel Straight compared to 158 for the Mercedes, the Porsche, and I think the Nissan maybe hit 159. So it's just free speed. It's easy speed. It's easy lap time. So I expect a lot of people will sort of gravitate towards the Supra round here. The only other thing to discuss really is what will the rolling start bring. Now, the rolling start in a custom race is actually quite good, but from what I've seen, maybe watching other people testing these lobbies or this race online, the rolling start may well still have some problems and see the field fairly strung out by the time you get to turn 1, which will be a little bit unfortunate for the cars at the back. But that's all we can say about this one. Let's finish off with a lap guide. We're heading down to turn 1. We're looking for the 100 metre board into La Source hairpin. Get it into that apex on the power as early as possible. You're going to run full throttle all the way from this point up to the right, left, right at the end of the Kemmel Straight, whose name for whatever reason seems to have escaped me. Given I've done a million laps around Spa, I'm not sure why. It's just I'm having a little bit of a mind block as into the name of the corner at the end of the Kemmel Straight. Anyways, we are in the Nissan GTR from 2018 for this lap guide. I'm sure there'll be plenty of Supra lap guides that come out in the next few days. But we're looking for the 100 metre board as our braking reference for the right, left, right, whose name still is La something or Le something. Lecombe, Wombo, Lecombe. We're going through Lecombe. Anyway, through there, get a nice rhythm through there, down towards Ravage. We're looking for the start of the curb here. Easy to kind of understeer a little bit wide away from the apex. The tighter the line you can keep, it usually tends to be a little bit better. Jackie Ink's corner, throw in third gear. It's a corner that can carry a little bit more speed and you turn into a little bit earlier than you might expect, and it should help you with your lap time. Then coming down to pull on, we're just after the 50 metre board, down 1 gear, throw in here. There's always lap time left on the table as you go through this corner, certainly in my case anyway. It's a corner where you have to be really brave, and if you're too brave, you go off. But it's the start of the curb for is it Campsa, this chicane called? Anyway, just like Lecombe, you're looking to carry as much momentum and speed through there, and you're looking for the start of the curb on the left hand side for Stavolo 1. It tightens up on the exits, easy to run it on that curb and understeer into the gravel. You should be full throttle through Stavolo 2. You might need a wee lift depending on what car you're in. Possibly the Supra won't have the downforce to go through there at full throttle, but you will be full throttle all the way down to the bus stop chicane through Blanchimont. Hopefully nobody tries to overtake you down the inside here, but they will, because people have no common sense when it comes to overtaking. But you're looking for just after the 150 metre board for your braking point, down into first gear. Big chunk of that curb there, big chunk of this curb here. On the throttle, nice and early, and the start finish line is just here, and it's a 219.7. We did do a pretty awful first sector, I might add. We went a nearly 3 times quicker on this lap we're on here. So a 19.4, 19.3, definitely capable for race pace in the Nissan GTR. But that's pretty much it for this one. It should be a fun enough race. Hopefully it doesn't become a Supra fest too quickly, although I suspect it will by the end of the week. We'll certainly be live streaming it a number of times. I'll probably find something to shout at, as I very often do. But do join me for that if you can. Say hello in the chat, it would be lovely to see you. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. See you, bye now.